heavy bodies staggered to their feet and came close to their trainer. Squeezing out what little strength they had left, Tonki and Wanli made their appeal. What is an appeal? The elephants made their appeal, and this is them making their appeal. What is appeal, Troy?
It's kind of like when they make their noises with their trunks or something.
Okay, similar, but in this situation, who else? Has anybody made an appeal for something? Think about it that way.
To make your hands up to defend yourself.
Good. Appeal. Okay? If I really want something, if I really want to go on a vacation, I might make an appeal to my mom. Okay? Please let me go. In this case, they're saying, please what?
Feed me. Feed us.
Please feed me. Okay? They're standing up. They're begging. They're weak. They're broken. So does everybody understand how that appealed in this context? They stood on their hind legs and lifted their front legs up as high as they could. Then, raising their trunks high in the air, they did their bonsai trick. Surely their friend would reward them with food and water as he used to do. So they're trying everything. They're even doing their trick that they do to try to get water. It's almost the last resort for them. Their trainer could not stand it no longer. "Oh, Tonki, oh, Wanli," he wailed and dashed to the food shed. He carried food and pails of water to them and threw it at their feet. "Here," he said, sobbing, clung to their thin legs. "Eat your food. Please drink. Drink your water." All of the other keepers pretended not to see what the trainer had done. No one said a word. Why?
Because I think they didn't tell anybody because if they were to tell somebody then the other people would probably take them away and
Good. But they couldn't stand it any longer. They weren't allowed to. They didn't want to. Because did they like these elephants?
yes.
The director of the zoo just sat very still, biting his lip and gazing at the top of his desk. No one was supposed to give the elephants any food. No one was supposed to give them any water. But everyone was hoping and praying that if the elephants could only survive one more day, the war might be over and the elephants would be saved. Pay attention. What is the difference between this picture compared to some of the pictures that it's been? And why do you think it is that way? Rodney.
I think it's that way because the last picture, he was like sobbing and feeding the elephants. Now he's like thinking what he's gonna do to save them.
Good. Good. Okay, when I looked at this and I read it, it was almost like that there was small hope that the elephants were going to survive when they thought that they were going to die. Can y'all see how that makes sense? Let's see. At last, Tonki and Wanli could no longer move. They just lay on their sides, hardly able to see the white clouds floating in the sky over the zoo. However, their eyes appeared clearer and more beautiful than ever. Why do you think the author put that last sentence in there? So they could barely move, they're laying like this. However, their eyes appeared beautiful. What would be the purpose of that? To show what about the elephants?
To show like perseverance.
Perseverance, good. What else?
Well, kind of like hope.
Oh. Good,
Like strength.
good.
In the beginning it said that their eyes were all glassy and stuff, but I think it kind of means that they recovered because now their eyes are quite clear.
Okay, let's see what happens. Seeing his beloved elephants dying this way, the elephant trainer felt as if his heart would break. He had no more courage to see them. the other keepers felt the same, and they too stayed away from the elephant's cage. Over 2 weeks later, Tonki and Wanli were dead. Both died leaning against the bars of their cages, with their trunks stretched high in the air, trying to do their bonsai trick for the people who once fed them. Okay? I want everybody to look at this.
Look.
Yeah, I know it's sad. It is sad. But, in terms of theme, think about this image and what was on here about a possible theme. The elephants are dead. They're dead, screamed the elephant trainer as he ran into the office. He buried his head in his arms, beating the desktop with his fist. The rest of the zookeepers ran to the elephant's cage and stumbled in. They took hold of Tonki and Wanli's thin bodies. Elephants have thin bodies? That shows you kind of what they went through, if the author's describing thin for an elephant. As if to shake them back to life, everyone burst into tears, then stroked the elephant's legs and trunks in sorrow. Above them, in the bright blue sky, the angry roar of enemy planes returned. Bombs began to drop on Tokyo once more, still clinging to the elephants. Clinging as in...
Holding on to them and crying and everything.
really tight. The zookeepers raised their fists to the sky and implored, "Stop the war, stop the war, stop all wars." Later, when the bodies of the elephants were examined, nothing was found in their washtub-like stomachs. Not even one drop of water. With tears in his eyes, the zookeeper finished his story. These 3 elephants, John, Tonki, and Wanli, are now resting peacefully under this monument. He was still patting the tombstone tenderly as the cherry blossoms fell on the grave like snowflakes. Okay? Simile to end it. Okay? A couple of thoughts just on the book in general and how it...
That's your story?
True story.
No.
Okay? Any other thoughts? Couple more.
It said that the bombs dropped like rain in it, and it says that the cherry blossoms fell like snowflakes. So I thought that those two might be those two scenarios might be connected.
Good. I think so. Okay? The bombs were dropping like rain. But here, and can you pay attention? What are the colors now? Now that we switched back into present time. Yeah, pink. Back to happy. Okay? Before we think about theme, I had one more thought when I read this, and I want to share it with y'all. Okay? It's on perspective. What perspective was this book written from? Was it Americans? Which one was it, Drake?
The Japanese.
The Japanese. Okay? Now, in World War II, were the Japanese on our team, so to speak? Were we a part of their alliance?
No.
Okay? So they're considered what? Enemies. Okay? But, this book, would you consider the zookeepers and the animals in Japan, would you consider them enemies?
No.
Does anybody feel sympathy for them? And for what happened? Show of hands. Sad? Yeah, I think we all can agree. I mean, that's a pretty sad book. Okay? But it's good to keep in mind that there's different perspectives. Not everybody in Japan was trying to fight against the Americans, just like not everybody in America was trying to fight everybody in Japan. Okay? That's how you got to keep in mind different perspectives when you're dealing with reading things like this and in history in general. Okay? The other thing I have before we do theme is what could these animals symbolize? as it relates to the war and humans?
Well, when they were alive and talking,
Good.
and the war was still going on, the people that went to the zoo could see elephants could give them hope because they were still doing their jobs.
Good. What else, Charlie?
It's kind of like, what the moral of the book is saying that wars are bad, like super bad.
Yeah. And also, think about, were the animals a part of the war, or were they innocent, just innocent people, or innocent animals? Okay, and yet they died because of the war. So think about Pearl Harbor, and think about when they were dropping these bombs in the city of Tokyo. Do you think all the people that died there were military people? Were people fighting in the war? What were they? They were civilians, okay? So when I read it, I thought about the animals dying and connected it to those innocent civilians dying in the war. Okay? So let's think about theme now. Okay? What are some ideas? Of theme. Some ideas. If I haven't heard from you, raise your hand.
I got perseverance,
Perseverance, good.
and I had 2 examples. First one was elephants.
Here, we're just gonna work on. I just want to get a list. I'll come back to you, okay? Perseverance.
Hope.
Hope.
Language.
Theme. So a theme is almost like an underlying message that we can describe from this book. I'll come back to you, Malachi.
Survival.
Survival. I like that. Right here, Virginia.
Resilience.
Resilience. Resiliency. Okay, think about what happened to the elephants. What did they go through? What did they endure?
Well, they were, I thought innocence because they really were innocent. So.
They were innocents.
Honor.
Honor. Okay, honor. And what's another word for honor? Starts with L.
Leader.
Loyal?
Loyalty.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Loyal. Okay, what else?
Sorrow.
Sorrow. Okay. Good. Okay. Couple more. One more. Rodney.
Courage.
Courage. Good. Who had courage? Who had courage in that?
The zookeeper.
The zookeepers? Just them? Did the elephants have courage?
Yeah, the elephants have courage.
Okay. Good. And the only one that I came up with, that was some of Malachi. 2 more.
Brave.
Bravery.
Yeah.
Good. That's similar to courage. Synonym. Last one. Strength. Good. I think similar to somebody said perseverance and strength. Okay? And the only one that I would add is how about suffering? Does everybody know what suffering means? Suffering. Who suffered?
Elephant.
Elephants. But did the elephants, were they the only people that suffered? Who else? Zookeepers. Okay? Alright, so what I want us to do is real fast. Turn and talk to the person next to you, okay? I want you to find 2 examples of these 2 themes. Loyalty and suffering. Okay? With an example from the book. Okay? So you need 1 sheet of paper for each group. Okay?
Do you need 2?